You think Common Ground is worth a buck? Consider leaving a tip at lptv.org. Lakeland Public Television presents Common Ground, brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Hi, my name is Henry Boucha. My Indian name is Ojibwa, which means warrior. My other Indian name is Wapi-Ma-Egan, which means white wolf. I am a Makwa Dotem, or a bear clan. I am a pipe carrier. I come from Kabekanong, which is the Indian name for war road. The highlights of my career would be winning the state Bantam Championship in '64, playing in the state championship at the high school level in 1969, and then, of course, being drafted by the Detroit Redwings in 1971. Being able to play with all three U.S. teams for 3 years in a row, winning a silver medal. Being able to play with the Detroit Redwings, my favorite club since I was 10 years old. Scoring the fastest goal at the start of the game in 1973 against Montreal, breaking a 41-year-old record. And then the most important is love and family, and finding my spirituality and being a good person, being able to help out other kids and people in need. The interesting part about this book, Henry Boucha, Ojibwa Native American Olympian, the idea actually came in 1992. We were honored at the Gathering of the Nations powwow in Albuquerque, New Mexico. At that time, there was only 10 Native American Olympians. And that'd be a great idea to do a documentary film series on the Native American Olympians. And the idea festered from '92 until 2011 when I actually started the project. And it wasn't without a lot of research, and I probably couldn't have did this book, 5 years ago. When I was a kid, I didn't want to be an Indian because of the depiction of the way the Indians were depicted in the John Wayne movies. All of that had a big part in my life. Although they probably didn't realize it when they made the pictures, the sensitivity of that whole subject matter of racism, discrimination, and how do you overcome that as a young kid, and how we all handled it at that time was just didn't want to learn our culture and traditions. We were embarrassed about it. So I came back to that through my self-discovery and my journey into my spirituality as an adult, raising my family in Warroad, working with the Indian Education Department, learning my culture and traditions then, taking houseboat trips with my dad and hearing my mother's stories and stuff about Lake of the Woods. And all of that is part of life, but yet you learn about all of these factions. And one big item was we didn't know where we belonged as American natives, American Indians in Warroad at the time. There is no particular reservation there. There is, land owned by Red Lake all throughout that whole area. So we always thought we belonged to Red Lake. So when we were looking to get our status, a sense of belonging with somebody, we went to Red Lake and they said, no, you're Canadian Indians and you belong up there. So when we went to Canada and asked them, they said, no, you live in the United States, you're American Indians. So it was difficult, and it probably took us 8 years to do my mother's side, and then we sent all that in, thought we had it, we could get enrolled in Canada, and then they said, no, now you got to do your dad's side. So then we researched all that, and it ended up taking us 13 years. So we started in 1987, finally got enrolled in 2000. So all of that knowledge and all of that history about the lake, the Indian culture and heritage and traditions that you learn comes later on. It came later to me. And then and 2006, my youngest boy graduated from high school. I had been divorced for a couple of years and ended up going up to Anchorage and Wasilla to do hockey schools for the National Hockey League diversity program, and ended up moving up there. I love the country up there. Ended up moving up there in 2007. So in 2011 is when I decided just to go for it. I'm going to do my book. I'm going to, rather than just do the story, I thought I'd just do the book and see how that was perceived. And I always consider Alaska my mountaintop, where I can look back and reflect and do, do the things, and my thoughts are clear. There's a different energy up there, and put it all together. I sat down in 2.5 months and wrote this book, outlined it 65 chapters. I cut it back to 64, and then I edited along with some friends and through my publisher. Edited it for another 14 to 15 months before we actually released it here 3 weeks ago. So it's a great story. It has a lot of information in there about the history, the settlement of Warroad and Roseau County and Lake of the Woods, and all my family histories in there, how those two arms got together and then intermarried, and how I started playing road hockey with a taped up snooze can, and how I started my journey. Then it goes into my career, and then my downfall as a person. After my eye injury and my tragedy of having that taken away at a young age, and walking out that door and not really knowing what to do or where to go or how to act, or all of the glory was gone, and you survive through perseverance. They say that if you're going through hell, keep going. And certainly, I was looking for that spirituality, and it tells the whole story. It started for me when I found a whole golden eagle out in the spring when I was living in Idaho, and I knew through my culture, I just knew instinctively that was a sign in my life that something significant was going to happen, and I needed to watch for those opportunities, those doors opening, the doors that were closed, but new ones would develop, and I just had that faith. And from that time on, I found all that spirituality, going back to Warroad, working in Indian education, coaching the kids for 25 years, going through the whole research of my lineage on both my dad and my mother's side, the relationships, the family, loving and care that you get from them, and you walk into the daylight again. It seemed that life was going to be okay.
If you have an idea for a common ground piece that pertains to North Central Minnesota, email us at legacy@lptv.org or call us 218-333-3022. To view any episode of Common Ground online, visit us at lptv.org. To order individual segments or entire episodes of Common Ground, please call 218-333-3020. Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people on the 4th of November, 2008.